Welcome back to DC-Cember, as me and my guests, Velvetjoker and Patrick Palen, continue through the top 12 DCEU movies.
This is suicide.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
I'm a superhero!
This one's my number one.
My number one, too.
It's just a good time.
Yeah, it's hard to say how I'd rank with some of the later ones, but I would say for the Suicide Squad, it was definitely up there for me. I guess I had to put a number, maybe like 4 or 5, just because I really like James Gunn's style. Although both these movies have a common theme that kind of bugs me, is the fact that there's no build up to like with some of these enemies before either Suicide Squad movies. I feel like there should have been some movie where you see the hero fight against these guys, they get captured, and then you see them band together under Waller or something.
Yeah, I can respect that. I think what is surprisingly done so well, or at least like in my experience of it, is it feels like they did try to build up that villain, but not with other movies before, but throughout the course of the movie itself by exercising a lot of restraint and self-control and not showing you too much of, like Starro, right? And then by the time you get to the end and we're at that point, it feels like you've been hearing enough about it and about what's at stake for it to be important. But that was how I experienced it. I can see where you're coming from.
That's why I feel like, it would have been nice if there had been a Batman movie where first see Jared Leto and Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn before the first Suicide Squad movie, but oh well.
I was going to say, it's interesting how much this movie has set up other movies and how now, looking at things that have come out, it gives you a different perception of this. Like, if you guys watch Creature Commandos of old, the character Weasel in this movie now is a totally different character.
Yes.
Yeah, and pretty much because I will say for this, James Gunn and Prince brought the biggest roster of the Suicide Squad.
Absolutely. I mean, King Shark was tremendous. The introduction of Peacemaker, and again, being interesting in what I had just said in that vein, you hate Peacemaker at the end of this movie, and then if you guys have watched the Peacemaker series, they make you love him.
I need to watch that show because I never got around to it, and I hear good things about it nonstop.
Peacemaker may not be my favorite DC show, but I do respect what they've done, because they showcase how the character just feels a little bit of regret for some of his decisions, like killing Rick Flag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, although that's going to bite him in season 2. It's just amazing with the various roster of characters we got, even though half of them got killed off in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
That was kind of funny too, because I felt like when I first saw that movie, it primed me and got me ready and made me believe like, okay, I really don't actually know who might die in this movie, because they just pulled the rug out from under my feet and set my expectations pretty clear. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I love how James Gunn, he does such a unique way of bringing all these unique characters together with the locations, and even bringing in someone like Starro, a Justice League villain. And yet by the time you get to him, all that's left is mostly the normies. The only one that has powers is just King Shark and Ratcatcher 2.
And again, you talk about Starro. What a comic book move. Who would ever think you're going to put Starro in a movie?
Yeah, because I feel like it's just to make fun of the whole, let's bring in a giant monster, typical superhero stuff. You would expect like someone like Superman or Wonder Woman to face it, but not Harley Quinn or Bloodsport.
And the ridiculousness of Peter Capaldi as the Thinker.
I loved his take on the character. That was just spot on with how he looks, how he acted. It's just perfect. The only thing that I would promise, I wish there was some earlier DC movie that would have introduced Bloodsport, because apparently he put Superman in the ICU with the kryptonite bullet. I think that would have been a great movie to see.
And it's funny, I just realized none of us have talked about the polka-dot and his mother.
Oh, God.
And your mom, where is she now?
Everywhere.
Yeah, he was just so awkward, quirky, especially how he just sees his mother on everyone's head. Especially with Starro.
It's your mom!
That's what comes to my mind as one of those many little things that set James Gunn apart from other directors, where I can imagine there being some pushback from people above him if they knew that he was going to have a scene like that in it, where they might be like, yeah, that's a little weird. It's unnecessary. You already told the audience through the dialogue that this is what he sees. But either way, though, whatever pushback he may or may not have gotten, I think he found the perfect balance for that. Like when you imagine you're experiencing his reality, it's really hard to not feel like you're kind of relating for him now from this point on. That's just like the incredible James Gunn thing, is to like take a character and just make you want the best for them, even no matter how crazy of a character they are.
Oh yeah. And then once again, another part of this movie just added to it, Margot Robbie again just had a great scene with that guy and the red flags, and then she kills him. It's just amazing.
Yeah, then the fight scene with all those henchmen where she's seeing like all these different birds and colors popping up. It's like, wow, yeah, this is how Harley sees the world.
Yeah, nice LSD trip visuals.
In a way, story-wise, it's kind of like a better version of the last Suicide Squad movie, where they had to deal with a giant force of evil, just not magic-based, and how they have to really kind of work together. And you can tell, like, for some characters, they really do care about each other. Not to the point of call themselves a family, but at least they're gonna make sure that they won't die or have a mental breakdown with fears. Like, because I find it funny with Bloodsport screams when it comes to rats.
That was brilliant. Like having this big, tough actor, Idris Elba, playing Bloodsport, this badass of an assassin and this manhunter, basically. And finding that, like, I didn't know about his character before this movie. And then finding out, oh, he's got a phobia of rats. And there's some trauma with it, right? And it's just, it really humanizes that guy. That's just such a personal type of, like, it's not just a weakness or whatever. That's such a personal kind of weakness, right? And I think he did that with, like, all of these characters. He had their backs against the wall in some sort of way. Like Harley and her long winding road of, like, trying to be accepted, also wanting to have autonomy and, like, figuring out, like, how to balance that out. And a blood sport, of course, and with his whole thing and having to, like, survive his phobia. It's just, I don't know. It's just so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just crazy how, like, that's how Starro was defeated, with an army of rats.
If we were looking at the DC movies up to this point and heard that this is what they're going to be trying to do, I feel like a lot of us, and or at least like the internet, would be like, don't bet on it. It's gonna fail.
And who would ever think Sylvester Stallone voice King Shark would be on the bingo card for that year?
I was not expecting that. I mean, not my exact favorite take on King Shark, but I guess just because I'm more used to, like, where he's actually talks coherently.
I like him biting off heads and being like, bro.
Thanks for watching today's episode. If you enjoyed the commentary, be sure to check out my guest podcast channels. Click the links in the description box to find out more details.